Welcome back to the 17 News at Sunrise podcast, where we share your news on your schedule.
Working in the spirit of the Golden Empire, this is 17 News at Sunrise.
Good morning. Right now at 5, hot, dry conditions fuel wildfires from around the state, including one causing problems for drivers over the Grapevine this morning. The latest on efforts to contain the post-fire still ahead.
This morning, millions of Americans are waking up without eviction protection or the added unemployment bonuses that have held many over since the beginning of this pandemic. But there is some cautious optimism on Capitol Hill. We'll explain the negotiations coming up.
Learning pods are popping up as a way to give students in-person instruction as well as face-to-face time with other kids. But the cost may very well make this service a luxury many local families can't afford, especially in the midst of the pandemic. Those stories and more on this Monday, August 3rd, 2020. Good morning, 5 a.m. Good to have you with us. I'm Maddie Jansen, along with Alex Fisher and Kevin Charette, both holding down the fort down in Bakersfield in studio. And yeah, this heat wave, it has been scorching, and unfortunately, it's fueling those fires here in the Central Valley area and Southern California as well.
You know, we talk about wildfire season lasting all year round, but right now especially we're seeing them pop up like crazy. So let's turn things over to Kevin Charette, who has a look at your forecast. He's tracking everything that you need to know on this Monday morning. Good morning, Kev.
Well, good morning. The heat wave is still with us. Yesterday, our high was 101. Today, we're going to be right near that before we start to see the cool down. So there is relief on the way for firefighters that are battling fires here in the state of California. Let's take you outside right now and show you what we've got going on. And we've got clear skies, no change on that front. And our temperature currently at 74 degrees, light wind out of the east-southeast at 5 miles per hour. And as we take a look at the hour-by-hour forecast for you today, we're going to be starting out in those 70s and then rising near 100 by 3 o'clock. And again, I think we'll top out near 101, 102. Mid-60s out of Tehachapi right now. A west-northwest wind at 10. I do expect the winds to pick up into the mountains today, and that's why we have a wind advisory for the Kern County Mountains areas near Tehachapi, and then also into the Mojave Desert through 6 a.m. tomorrow morning. And you can see here in our wind forecast, as I put this into motion, as we get into about the 6:30 hour tonight, you can see those winds picking up out in the desert locations. Put this back into motion. 10 o'clock, we get another surge of those winds, and then we start to see them relax by tomorrow. So that's something we're going to be watching for, and I'll tell you why we're going to see those winds in just a little bit. But mid-60s to start, and then you can see throughout the afternoon, we'll be rising into the upper 80s and lower 90s. I'll have much more in your forecast. That's coming up in just a little bit.
All right, Kevin, thank you so much. This morning, a large fire continues to burn in Gorman, and it has shut down part of the 5 freeway. The Post fire broke out around 6:50 yesterday evening and has burned 200 acres so far. That fire is burning just east of the 5 freeway. At one point, the freeway, along with the 138, had to be completely shut down. Kern County and Los Angeles County firefighters have stopped the forward progress, and right now, crews have 15% containment. It appears no structures have been damaged. The blaze has caused major delays for drivers heading northbound. Southbound looks to be okay. All northbound I-5 traffic is being diverted at Smoky Bear Road. State Route 138 westbound lanes have been closed as well. It is not known how long the roads will be closed at this time. Crews remained out overnight to handle any hot spots.
This morning, around 8,000 Southern California residents remain under evacuation orders as the fire continues to burn out of control. The so-called Apple Fire has already charred more than 20,000 acres and damaged and destroyed several outbuildings and homes. The fire is currently 5% contained. Officials say there's a lot of steep, rugged terrain that makes it impossible for firefighting vehicles to reach the blaze. Instead, air tankers are being used to fight the fire from the air, and ground crews are working by hand to keep the flames from spreading. Kern County Fire has sent dozens of firefighters to help get the blaze under control. Officials say the cause is possibly arson. And with wildfire season underway, there are some things that you should keep in mind. When there's an active fire, be sure to take care of your lungs. Wildfire smoke contains particulate matter, which can trigger asthma attacks and aggravate chronic bronchitis. The smoke can also increase the risk of heart attack and stroke. Taking care of your lungs is especially important right now during the COVID-19 outbreak. If you're exposed to dirty, polluted air, move inside as soon as you can. And if you're already indoors, keep your doors and windows closed.
Now to a tragic update on a story we brought to you as breaking news Friday morning. The U.S. Marine Corps has called off the search looking for the other 8 people missing who were on board the amphibious vehicle that sank on Thursday evening. According to the Marines, 15 Marines and 1 Navy sailor were on board the 26-ton tank. The tank-like craft that took on water and quickly sank in hundreds of feet of water. 8 Marines were rescued. 1 later died and 2 others are in critical condition. The Marine says the tank is too deep for divers to reach. Crews have searched over 1,000 nautical miles of sea for other survivors. The Marine says an investigation will be conducted into the sinking of that vehicle. This is one of the deadliest accidents involving Amtrak's. In 2017, 14 Marines and 1 Navy sailor were hospitalized after their vehicle hit a natural gas line, causing a fire. And in 2011, a Marine died in a similar training exercise like the one on Thursday evening.
Now to the latest on the coronavirus here in Kern County. Public health officials confirmed another 663 new cases on Sunday. That brings our total to more than 20,000. Our death toll stands at 144 people, 58 deaths last month alone. The hospitalization rate continues to climb. 258 people are currently being treated in the hospital. Roughly 3/4 of Kern's cases are considered active at this time. More than 14,000 residents are recovering at home.
Well, it is the start of a new month with an old problem. Most states are seeing a week-over-week rise in test positivity rates for COVID-19, a strong indicator of how rampantly this virus is spreading. And some officials fear the U.S. still does not have a grasp on this pandemic. John Lawrence reports.
There are more than 4.6 million known coronavirus infections in the U.S., according to Johns Hopkins University. That accounts for more than 1/4 of the cases worldwide.
We are constantly having to remind people that they may be tired of the virus, but the virus is certainly not tired of us.
Not only is the virus not tired of the U.S.,
we are in a new phase.
Dr. Deborah Birx with the White House's Coronavirus Task Force says COVID-19 is more widespread now compared to earlier this year.
No matter where you live in America, you need to wear a mask and socially distance, do the personal hygiene pieces.
The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention's new forecast predicts nearly 20,000 more COVID-related deaths by August 22nd. That breaks down to close to 1,000 deaths per day between now and then.
We haven't controlled this virus in a serious way. We're seeing rises in a lot of states, and now we're talking about reopening schools and colleges in the midst of that, which I think is just going to compound our problem significantly.
And some health experts say stay-at-home restrictions may be necessary.
More serious measures need to be taken in order to flatten the curve, to bring back a phrase that we used widely months ago, but don't use so much now.
I'm John Lawrence reporting.
Around the state, health officials have released more in-depth numbers on the pandemic. A grim number, California has seen more than 509,000 positive cases. In the past 24 hours, CDPH says that nearly 150,000 residents have tested positive. The California Department of Public Health says the 7-day average for new cases is 7,929 per day. Last week, that average was over 9,800. More than 8 million Californians have tested positive for the novel virus, for the novel virus. CDPH says as testing capacity ramps up, so has positive cases. 9,300 people have lost their battle to the virus since the pandemic began back in March. 37 counties, including Kern, had to close all indoor operations due to the July 13th order from Governor Newsom. And as the pandemic goes on, people are getting used to wearing masks. In Delano, the city council is set to discuss a possible mask mandate. According to the agenda, the mandate would align itself with Governor Newsom's orders as well as advice from health officials. Right now, there's only discussion on the topic. The next regular meeting is scheduled for today at 5:30 p.m. Well, keeping your kids on track this school year might be harder than ever before as learning moves online, especially for working parents. Welcome back. Your time now is 5:18 on this Monday morning. With the majority of districts set to start their school year online, many families are still scrambling to find ways to make sure their kids don't fall behind. 17's Taylor Schaub tells us about one solution that could help lighten the load for parents.
That's right. A former Bakersfield teacher is offering a new service to help keep your child on track this fall.
It's just a hard time, and I hear the anxiety in the voices of the parents.
As back-to-school season fast approaches, many families are searching for ways to help their children learn online. A popular concept circulating through many major cities in California is creating learning pods, in which parents pair up a group of children in the same grade with an in-person instructor.
I have 10 families that have contacted me, and I've only been advertising, you would say, for a week.
Claire Dunphy is a former teacher with the Bakersfield City School District. She says families have been contacting her nonstop since she decided to turn her home into a homeroom.
I wasn't really envisioning a full-time gig, but right now it looks like it could become that very quickly.
Dunphy is certified to teach K through 12 and is willing to see up to 5 kids for 2 hours at a time.
I think it's important that the students have a chance to face-to-face collaborate, ask questions, and be together.
However, she says safety is her top priority, taking such precautions as separate entrances for families, socially distanced seating, and a mask mandate for every kid that walks through the door.
We all wear masks. I take their temperature when they come in. They pick all of their own supplies. Then when they leave, I make sure that we spray down everything that they've touched.
But the service isn't cheap. At $25 to $35 an hour, many Kern County families living at or near the poverty line may deem the cost simply too high, a problem Dunphy admits could leave their kids a little behind. And for families interested in creating one of these learning pods, you can email Dunphy at clairsclassroom2020@gmail.com. In Southwest Bakersfield, Taylor Schaub, 17 News.
And that brings us to our 17 interactive feedback poll. We want to know, would you feel comfortable with your child being in a learning pod? Call or text us at 888-4617. Press 1 for yes and 2 for no. You can also text, tweet, email, or Facebook your comments. Once again, our interactive feedback phone line is 888-4617, and we'll air some of your comments and have results coming up later on Sunrise. Well, the pandemic hasn't just changed things for people, it's also made things more difficult for our pets. Kern County Animal Services wants to help pet owners struggling during the pandemic. It's going to offer free dog and cat food through the Pet Food Safety Net program. The program was made possible by a grant from Maddie's Fund and a donation from Hills Pet Nutrition. To get the food, just text the word pet food to the number 555-888. Then fill out the application sent to you. You'll be able to pick up a supply of food. For more information, go to our website, kget.com. Speaking of helping pets during the pandemic, if you're looking for a new companion, KGET is teaming up with the Bakersfield Animal Care Center for our annual Clear the Shelters adoption drive. Things will look a little different this year because of the pandemic. The nationwide adoption drive will be held virtually to help find loving homes for animals in need. It's going on all through the month of August until the 29th. You can find more information on our website, kget.com, and you can click on the link there to adopt your new furry friend or even just donate to the cause. Thanks, Kev. Making news across the nation this morning. What to do about unemployment benefits? That's the big question in Washington this morning. 3 days after the federal bonus payments expired, there's still no answer. Tracy Potts has more.
Still no deal.
We still have a long ways to go.
No compromise between Democrats, Republicans, and the White House on the $600 a week unemployment payments that expired Friday.
Talk to President Trump. He's the one who is standing in the way of that.
There's growing pressure on all sides to act.
The White House recognizes that we must do something meaningful, and that's why I think we can be cautiously optimistic that we'll arrive at an agreement sometime soon.
The White House offered a one-week extension while negotiations continue.
Let's do a short-term deal. The two issues on evictions and unenhanced unemployment.
Democrats rejected that.
They have a $200 proposal, which does not meet the needs of America's working families.
I'm not optimistic that there will be a solution in the very near term.
Meantime, the coronavirus that caused the economic meltdown continues to spread.
What we're seeing today is different from March and April. It is extraordinarily widespread.
The solution, health experts say, more masks.
We have to have like 85 or 90% of individuals wearing a mask and avoiding crowds.
But that's not happening. So the virus and the money problems for millions of Americans continue to grow. Federal unemployment has run out. Eviction protection has run out in small business loans and this month. Tracy Potts, NBC News.
The 17 News at Sunrise podcast is a production of KGET and Nexstar Media Group. For more on all of the headlines in today's show, head to kget.com.